Greetings. This is Escape from Trucking. My name's Casey. I've been trucking for 6 years now, since 2018, and this channel is about the truck driver's struggle in trying to transition out of truck driving. And today I just want to give an update on some important decisions that I've made regarding that transition. I have decided to continue my real estate appraiser education. I guess just to give you some background, I was over the road, and I'd been over the road for about, I want to say about 5 years. And as I was coming off OTR, or as I decided that I had put my time in, it was time to transition, I came up with a plan, and that plan included coming back home to my house and applying for work, home daily trucking work. And in my spare time, I would work on qualifying education and studying courses to go through the process of becoming a real estate appraiser. And for those of you who aren't familiar, a real estate appraiser develops and communicates opinions on the value of real estate, typically for the purpose of mortgage loans and things like that. I came off OTR about 10 months ago, okay? And I immediately and very enthusiastically, once I found my job, which is the job I'm still working at, once I found that job, I immediately jumped into the initial appraisal coursework. Let me give you a little background for those who don't know, and I'm assuming that's most of you. To become there's like 4 levels of appraiser. The first is an appraiser trainee, and in order to get work as an appraiser trainee, you have to have 79 hours of education, of coursework done, and then you have to find a supervising appraiser who's willing to supervise your work, and you have to work 1,000 hours under that supervising appraiser. I think it's 1,000 hours, don't quote me. Before you can then upgrade to a licensed residential appraiser. Typically the hardest part is finding that supervisor appraiser who's willing to supervise your work and sign off on your work. But there's a new program out called Appraiser, where you actually don't have to find a supervising appraiser. You do virtual appraisals with a mentor, and that substitutes the experience hours to get your license. It costs a pretty penny, but I decided that was what I was going to do instead of hunting down someone to supervise me. So that's my plan, and I'm going to use that to become a licensed residential appraiser, and then beyond that you can become a certified residential appraiser, and then you can become a certified general appraiser who can appraise commercial properties, which is a whole other ballgame. But my goal, at least in the interim, is to become a licensed residential appraiser. So that would require the first 79 hours to become a trainee, then 1,000 practical hours, and then finally another set of 75 course hours, and then some more practical experience before you can become a licensed residential appraiser. I'm just going off bare memory here. So basically, I finished the first 79 hours, and it took me like 8 months to do so. And I took some time off and really decided whether or not I want to go through with the next 75 hours before I can join Perea and then become a licensed residential appraiser. And I decided that I'm going to. And I guess I just want to share with you, viewer, the story, if you don't mind listening to me tonight. I expected at first. I guess I just want to explain why I'm doing this, and some of the struggles that I've had, and some of the doubts and the second guessing, and potential alternative plans that I've run through my head over the last 2 days. And I know there's a lot of other truckers who are going through similar things right now, especially because it's January and freight is this is the slowest freight. This is the slowest time of the year freight-wise, so we all have a lot of downtime, and it all gets us doing some existential thinking about where the heck we're going in life. The first set of classes I took, I jumped into it enthusiastically 10 months ago, expecting that it would take me about 5 months to finish before I could go on to the next one. Well, it took me 8 months to finish. And, primarily the reason is because I'm very tired. And that 8 months, even with that 8 months, I found myself to be completely exhausted, grumpy. I had no spare time. When I wasn't sitting in front of a truck, I was sitting in front of a freaking computer, and it was frustrating to me. I felt like I didn't have a life. And I was very eager to finish it, move on, and take some time for myself. So much so to the point where I really, in the back of my head, was thinking, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it's not worth doing this. It took me a long time because I was very tired. And the reason I was very tired was because the job that I have, the home daily job that I have, is a third shift trucking job. And I've now been doing third shift trucking in one way or another for the last 2.5, going on 3 years now. I'm just a little past 40 years old, and it's really starting to hit me. Like it really. I've mentioned this in a previous video. It's really taken its pound of flesh out of me, and so having to do that, and then the appraisal coursework, I really didn't like it, and it was a hard slog. And once I finished that initial coursework, really, I took some time off and explored some other options, which included looking for home daily day shift trucking around here. I am deeply unhappy with the job that I have right now, and I don't want to really get too much into why. But the third shift, the pay is pretty good, but the third shift is really hurting me. And every time, I mentioned this in another video too, every time the truck goes down, I just get put on the sidelines. And now it's gotten even worse, because now anytime anybody's truck goes down, it seems, the manager just puts that person on my truck and puts me on the sideline. So I get sidelined even if my truck's working just fine. I'm deeply unhappy with that, and I feel deeply disrespected by it, if I'm going to be very honest. I really do. It makes you look for other work. And I have spent the last month and a half looking for other options, looking for day shift driving, and I really found there's not a whole lot of options where I live. A lot of it is like flatbed involving strapping, or involving use of a forklift and a pallet jack, and you have to unload all your loads, or maybe it's like a Dollar General or something like that. All stuff that I quite frankly I don't think I can do, if I'm being very honest with you. I really I feel like I can't do that. I have entertained trash collection, which I did think was pretty good. That's something I do think I can do, and it's basically an 8 to 5, or maybe more like a 7 to 5 type job that does pay well and that does have great benefits, and I mean, if I'm doing that, I might not even want to do real estate appraisal. Um, but I don't know how much should I disclose. I did go to. I don't know. Oh fuck it. I mean, I'm not going to say who I'm working for, and I'm not even going to give a clue who I'm working for. Hopefully, I did go to a few months ago. I did go to interview at one of the trash haulers, one of the trash collectors around here, and they said, "Well, there's 15 other people. We got one position open, and there's 15 other people vying for this job." And I'm just like, "Oh God." Like, are you kidding me? Because typically, like an interview, in my experience as a CDL, or an interview is like you just show up, do some formalities, and say what time do you want to start. But like this was different. There are 15 other people vying for that one job, and needless to say, I didn't get that damn job. So, um, I decided to do. I decided that. I mean, I'm always looking for a better job, especially if things aren't going all that well and you're not all that happy at your current job. I'm always looking, but I don't think I'm going to leave this job for any time soon, frankly speaking. Um, I kind of resigned myself to that fact, and I've decided to go back to the original plan of plugging away to become a licensed residential appraiser. Um, Here's why. Licensed residential appraisers, they typically work independently. Independently, the median revenue that they make every year, I don't want to say income, the median revenue they make every year in my state, Texas, is about $90,000 a year. Now that's not factoring in expenses. There's not too many expenses for a real estate appraiser, really. Not too many recurring expenses, but it does not factor in expenses, and it's not W-2, so the tax burden will be significantly bigger for me. And I can imagine just the health insurance will be a nightmare. So it's not quite the same as $90,000 at a W-2 job. I understand that, but it's still really good money. It's in a field that I'm actually interested in, and that I'm actually good at it. I've taken to the course material like a duck takes to water. I breeze through it. I'm interested in it. I'm good at it. I intuitively grasp it, which is more than I can ever say about truck driving for me. For me, truck driving, I've had to force myself. Everything I've ever done in truck driving, whether it's just whether it's learning to be a fuel hauler, doing tanker, doing doubles, connecting a double set, or even just flat out getting my frickin' CDL. Everything I've done as a trucker, I've had to force myself to learn. And I'm not naturally good at anything that I've done in trucking. I've had to learn to be, with the exception of time management, clock management, and stuff like that. I have been good at that. And that's important, but like all the other stuff, I've had to force myself to learn. Appraisal's different. I take to it naturally, and it's something I think I have. It's something I have a natural aptitude at. Number one, but it also my end game is to own and manage real estate assets. To own several properties at least, and then work in the real estate business and maybe do business deals with someone else, or get someone else's money to syndicate to buy properties, or invest my own money with someone else. I don't know how it's going to shake up. How am I supposed to know? But that's my plan, and I figured that if I were doing it, I would run into the right people. I'd be much more likely to run into the right people as an appraiser than I would be a frickin' truck driver. Or, I mean, a garbage man. And I think that's probably true. So I've decided to go ahead with the appraisal thing. I'm not gonna lie, I did weigh some other options. January is a very slow month in most parts of trucking, and I find myself sitting on the sidelines for reasons I mentioned, and I've decided that instead of fighting all this downtime by trying to, claw and beg and plead for them to find ways to put me on back on the road, or to pick up loads that nobody else wants, that don't make any sense, or pick up some bullshit side hustle that's just going to end up being a dead end that I'm not interested in, or worse yet, finding some other job at a warehouse which will pay a lot less than what I'm doing right now. I looked into that. All those other options, they just didn't seem as they don't, it doesn't make sense. What makes sense is I continue to work to become, I continue the next rung of that appraisal education. And I now have a new coursework. I bought it on McKissick.com. I paid $1,250 for it, and I've got 75 more course hours to do. When it comes to it, I expect it to take me 6 to 8 months to get all this stuff done. I will work as hard as I can to apply myself. I'm going to be very tired. I'm not going to have any free time. I'm going to feel like I have no life all over again. Don't enjoy going through that, but I don't. But I have to do what I have to do, right? This is the Escape from Trucking channel, and I'm trying to escape from trucking. This is, I shouldn't put it that way, but I'm trying to transition here, okay? Well, now I sound like I'm transgender. I'm trying to transition into a woman. No. I'm trying to transition out of the trucking career. And I sat there and I thought, between the amount of time it's going to take to do this, 6 to 8 months, the waiting list for getting onto the PARIA program, which is another 6 months, and then the PARIA program itself, which I'm being told takes about a year, it's going to be 2 more years. It's going to be 2 more years. I'm going to be a trucker for at least 2 more years. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll find some trucking dream job that'll get me home every day and pay really good benefits. And something that I'll really like, and I'll get a nice big 401k match, and I'll get plenty of paid time off, and I'll get Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. I mean, a boy can dream, right? But until then, I'm going to work on the appraisal thing, because that is ultimately the plan that I had when I came off OTR, and I've decided that I'm going to stick with it. So that's all I've got for tonight. If you for some reason enjoyed listening to me, I invite you to if you could, please like my video. It helps, and if you could subscribe, that'd really be great. So thank you, and I will have more videos later. Bye-bye.